I'm in my 40s now, and this incident took place near Deadwood, South Dakota when I was in the 5th grade. It was during the summer between my 5th and 6th grade years in school. So I was 10, maybe 11, because my birthday is in July. All of these events happened in 5 minutes or less, around dusk. So that evening, it was about dusk and we had just eaten dinner, as guests, with the Shears family. The adults were in the house getting dessert ready or doing whatever. Me, my older brother Jason, and 2 of the other family's boys were all within a few years in age. We were out messing around a couple hundred yards away, in a barn that their family was setting up. It was still under construction, but mostly finished. It had exterior windows, a big barn door, and everything. We were climbing around, up in the rafters of the structure, and someone on the ground commented about some horrible smell. Within a few seconds, this smell caught up with me as I was making my way down from the rafters of the barn. I can't describe the smell itself, so I will attempt to describe the feeling that it gave me. Things that smell really bad can cause the human body to involuntarily gag or throw up. This isn't something that you have time to try and stop. It's like a reflex. The smell hits you and is interpreted by your brain. Before I could exhale, it felt like my body was trying to turn itself inside out. I clearly remember, as I was getting ready to hop down onto a ladder, I smelled it and instantly vomited freshly eaten spaghetti. It easily could have been the pie eating contest scene from the movie Stand By Me. Right about then we heard something outside that I had never heard before and haven't heard since. It was a big sound. It shook the earth. You could hear it, but you could also feel it inside your body. It was something out there. And it was big. Right then, I was motionless. We all were, staring at each other wide-eyed. While I was standing up in the rafters, the entire barn was being pushed from the outside wall, from my left to right. It was so violent that I had to quickly kneel down and grab onto the wood beam I was standing on to keep from falling to the ground. I probably moved 6 to 8 inches sideways. That's a lot of movement for a single-story structure attached to a foundation. The dog was going bananas. Its fur was standing straight up on its back. It was in defend mode, holding its ground, looking directly at the place on the barn where the sound came from and the movement originated. As I hopped to the ground, I had a thought that terrified me. Is this thing trying to come through the wall? My brother and the 2 other boys started scrambling to find something to defend ourselves with. I think I ended up holding a rusty pair of garden shears. The dog, a big German shepherd, ran out of the door and rounded the corner with a very offensive posture. It was obvious he was going to protect his humans or die trying. I'm in my 40s and I still have never witnessed that kind of split-second bravery, not even in a human. One of the boys ran after the dog, clearly concerned that the dog was now in danger. Then we all ran out of that barn with our makeshift weapons, in an attempt to investigate the dog having put itself in harm's way. Right behind the barn, there was this steep hill with maybe a 45-degree angle. The hill was overgrown with bushes and trees. When we round the corner of the barn, all I see is a very tall, dark figure that resembled a 10-foot-tall football player, wearing a dark-colored ghillie suit. It turned and ran full speed on 2 legs. I clearly remember it was grasping and swatting while breaking through the trees and bushes on its way up this very steep hillside. It was like a cartoon. A dark figure runs up the hill as bushes and trees rustle and break. Then it zigs and runs up further as trees and bushes rustle. Then zags and runs further as trees crash and break and bushes rustle violently. Whoosh! Crash! Slam! Whoosh! Snap! Boom! Crunch! Bang! Crash! And it was up and over this incline in less than 10 seconds. Now I say it was a hill, but it was so high that it may as well been a damned mountain. This thing ran up it faster than I've ever seen anything run, ever. It sprinted up an incline that was steeper than the laws of physics would allow you to drive a vehicle up, and it was completely overgrown with thick bushes and trees. Now the entire encounter, this thing was screaming. Loud. It was louder than 3 or 4 adults could yell at the same time. And they'd all have to be yelling as if they were trying to permanently ruin their voices. This thing wasn't human, but it was screaming. The dog ran back after giving up chase, a quarter the way up the hill. There we were. 4 of us kids, the dog, and none of us dead. So with the fires of hell lit under our feet, we flew back to the house and exploded in the front door. All of us babbling, panting, crying, and puke covered. Since it was mostly dark by this point, the adults dismissed us and our story. They said we must have seen an elk, or a deer, or a bear. No way. I've seen all of those in the wild, lots of times. When was the last time a bear screamed at you? Then ran, on 2 feet, up an incline. The whole time grabbing with thumb-like appendages? Bears do not have thumbs, so they cannot grasp anything. And they never, ever scream.
If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.